Hi comrades, my name is Alexey and today I want to show you how I sculpt rocks. And let's get straight into it. First, you have to create any primitive, in my case it's a sphere. I open a shadow box with a resolution of 256 for example. And now we have this. In case you don't know what is a shadow box, it is a projection from three different angles: top, bottom, left, right, and back, front. And you create shapes by drawing masks on this half cube. So let's erase everything. For example, if I draw something here, it will look this way. And if I draw, let's turn on transparency. If I draw here this way, it will look this way, and like that. That's what we have. I love this instrument and I find this quite handy. And now let's create something interesting. Now I'm happy with my initial result, and let's go to the next stage. Let's turn off shadow box, and the next stage is cutting with trim curve instrument. I will show you how to use it in case you don't know. From different angles you have to press Ctrl Shift, and with dragging left mouse button you cut it this way. Oh yeah, and before that you have to press polygroups, auto groups, so it will be the same auto group, because ZBRUSH is being stupid about that sometimes. We can do something like that, and in case you want it to be smooth, you press Ctrl Shift, drag with left mouse button. In some point you press Alt key once, and now it's smooth, and you cut this way. With this tool I will make some areas sharper and will cut some interesting details from my rock. Before we go to the next stage, we have to clean this mess up by dynameshing it with not very high resolution. I don't want to be it too much high poly at this stage. I recommend it to be below 100k polygons. As you can see here, it's 77,000. Why? Because I will use Sculptris Pro instrument. Turn it on here. It should be same in your ZBRUSH by default. And I will use Trim Smooth Border brush with rectangular alpha. In case you don't have it, you can find it in Lightbox, Brushes, Brush, and Trim is here. This is not very common brush and you need to understand how it works. I will explain you. If you try to draw something here with holding Alt or without, it doesn't work. But if you go here, you create something like this. And as you can see, this surface has the same direction as this surface here. Actually, same vertex direction. The first vertex you pick when you draw, until you stopping your stroke, will draw everything in this direction. If you start your stroke here, it will work same way. However, if you press Alt key, it will rise everything what is below this surface. So that's how it works. And this brush is quite useful for creating big, medium and small shapes, and even for edges detailing. Let's smooth this area and make some strokes here. You need to get used to this brush. It takes some time. And to help this brush, I use another brush which is planar, again with rectangular alpha. It works kinda same way, but it always stays in the same plane, so it's good for cleaning up the mess and to create the shapes as well. Same as trim smooth border, it doesn't work if you draw it this way, but if you draw here, you will get something like that as a result. Or if you draw with Alt key, it will create these kind of shapes. Mostly I use just these two brushes to create my shapes, especially large and medium shapes. And that's how you can get some interesting rocky surfaces. About Sculptris Pro, density of polygons depends on size of your brush. For example, if I decrease my size, it will look this way, and if you turn on wireframe, you can see the difference, even smaller and smaller. How you can increase it? You have to press stroke, Sculptris Pro, and subdivide size. You have to decrease it, I think, to half or maybe even more. And now that's how it works now. I think density is too high, so 0.75 or something like that would be enough for me. Clay buildup, of course you can use it, however I'm not a big fan of this brush in case of sculpting rocks, but sometimes I use it just to break some flat areas, like here. Let me show you. Let's clean this up and make some low intensity noise, kind of noise here. I did it just to help my trim smooth border brush because it doesn't work on flat surfaces, but in case I have something like that, now it will work and I can create some interesting shapes on almost flat surface here. But you need to be accurate here. Or I can use a planar brush, of course. And now, as you can see, in just a few minutes I created an interesting surface, rocky surface, but it's due to brush limitations, it's completely flat, and I have to break it up with trim smooth border. And that's how it is looking after small polishing with trim smooth border brush. And I need to mention that in this video I'm teaching you how to work with shapes, but most complex thing in rocks is to create an interesting silhouette, interesting shape overall, especially big and medium. And in case you don't have a concept, it takes huge amount of time to create an interesting shape of the rock. And I have a hint for it. Even if you work with stylized shapes, you need to stick with believable shapes. What I mean by that? This area, for example, is not believable, especially to compare with this. This area needs some extra detailing, however, it looks decent, while this is looking bad. And the most common mistake when people sculpt rocks is detailing too early. I don't like this area here, and I will try more and more different strokes until I have a believable good result. And when you have this kind of areas, don't be afraid to use huge strokes. And I will try right now. And now that's what we've got. and the shapes are more or less believable. However, the whole rock is not. Why? Because this is a flat rock, and it mostly doesn't look this way. It should be done with some steps like I've done here with the same brushes again. But that's not the point, because in this video I want to teach you how to work with the shapes, and I need to show you some more brushes and techniques. And the next brush, let's smooth out this area. For example, you need to create an eroded rock, and you need a thick skin clay brush with default settings, or almost default. And you just do a random strokes. Now it looks like a complete mess, so let's blur it out with Sculpt Pro. And you can cut some stuff with trim curve brush, which we used before. And what else you can do is use deformation. For example, you can mask this area, blur the mask, and increase contrast here. And do the polishing by crisp edges. You have to uncheck this box. It's a circle, not box, but... and that's what you have. It doesn't have to look exactly this way, but this brush fits better than other brushes which I found for this specific case. And the last thing I want to show you is fine-tuning with some alphas, which you can find in many places, and some custom brushes. Mostly it's used for adding some very small details, but still they are very important. But sometimes when you need some quick results, you can use some of them even for big shapes and medium shapes. Let me show you. First of all, you need huge amount of polygons for it. Let's try 4 millions, I hope it will be enough. And we have to turn off Sculpt Pro. Now you have to find some and import them. I use my own alphas and brushes, and I sell them, by the way. Link for Gumroad and Artstation is in the description. And I recommend to use it the way it doesn't change the silhouette. Basically surface details like this one, for example, or this one, or maybe even this one. Or you can add some cracks along the surface. Or to add some dents to the surface to make it look more natural. But if you're crazy, you can even do this. And still it will work, in some specific cases. And now I will sculpt and render this rock in time-lapse. Here's the final result for you. But the tutorial itself is over. Thanks for watching. Now it feels like the overall shape of the rock is too boring, and I've decided to change it a lot. I would like to keep the flat surface, but I don't want it to look like a table. So first of all I will scale it this way. Let's append a plane with our ground surface, and I want to have an extra skew from different angle. This is better, and now we can start sculpting.